This is the perfect time for capitalism and marketing, mind you, because it's the time where everybody is now dedicated to changing themselves for the next like 10 days.
100%.
And mind you,
not for 10 days.
I think many of us see discipline as punishment.
Sometimes the number one core thing that we need to do is identify, what don't I know?
Yeah.
You don't need to be anybody else to be the it girl. The it girl isn't her. It's you at your best form. Hello and welcome to the To My Sisters podcast. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Renee, and we are your online sisters and hosts of the To My Sisters podcast.
We are all about promoting the wellness, growth and development of a community of sisters across the world.
And in today's episode, it's a new year, both at TMS HQ and in the world.
Yeah.
And we are going to be talking about none other than discipline.
Yes.
How to get your life together, what discipline actually means, habit formation, and becoming the it girl in 2022.
Fancy schmancy
Fancy
stuff.
schmancy. But in customary TMS style, we are going to be starting off with a little dilemma.
I'll shout out to all the girls who in the last this or that said savory food.
Yes.
I think my favorite option, somebody said potatoes.
I saw it, yeah, and I was like, oh,
I can't
you're
remember
onto
Sis's
something.
name, but yeah, potatoes. I said, girl, you smart.
You're onto something. You can have French fries,
Yeah.
you can have mashed potatoes, all sorts.
What do you think is the best form of potato?
Oh, that's really tough for me because I do love me a potato in all forms. I don't discriminate. I think for me, just because I love French fries so much, chips for me.
Okay, I hear it. If we're talking about like potatoes cut in its raw form, chips is the best version.
Yeah.
But I think, have you had, I think it's either potatoes, the au gratin one or the dauphinois ones, the one with the cream and the cheese and the onions.
Okay.
Girls, that the French.
Not potato dauphinois.
Potato dauphinois. I think it's the best form of potato.
Okay.
That is elite.
Not me coming out with chips and you said
No, but
dauphinois. Bougie.
Bougetto. It's bougetto.
And for the American sisters, we mean French fries because I believe chips actually means like crisps, which I think is scandalous. That's probably bottom tier potato for me.
But you know what? I think it actually makes sense. Yeah.
As in the
Crisps make sense because it's crispy.
Okay,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But chips make sense because they're like chips.
And you dip them and stuff.
Yeah,
I suppose.
that's like chips.
I hear it. It's just the function of being British, I suppose, unfortunately.
This little island.
But potato dauphinois, I'm not over that, you know. What a bougie ass, you know. Anyways, a cultured lady. As you can see, he's the cultured one out of the two of us.
Screaming, get out.
Into the dilemma. Subject: how long is too long to be single?
Oh.
Hey sisters.
Hello.
Just gonna start by saying that you're doing an amazing job. I've recently stumbled across your podcast and can't lie, I'm getting scent slapped into me with each episode.
Oh, we don't appreciate, like, we're not trying to be abusive. But if it helps, it helps.
We don't tolerate no violence on this podcast, but if it is violent for you to be listening to us in a way that is conducive to your personal growth, then alas, we've done our job.
It is what it is.
I'm a 22-year-old woman doing pretty good for myself. I've got a degree and a job to show for it. So ideally, I should be feeling pretty good about myself, right? Wrong. I've been single for 2 years now. And it's starting to feel like something is wrong with me. The first year, my ex and I were on and off physically as well, but this eventually faded. Initially, our breakup happened due to circumstances we couldn't control, so the love has always been there and we're pretty good friends nonetheless. Now, even though deep down I expected it because he's been working on himself and is nothing like the version of him I had, which I'm salty about, I've recently discovered he's in a relationship and I can't help but feel a little jealous. The last 6 months have been me putting active effort and learning to love myself and become the better version of me, trying to meet guys and date. But when I tell you it's been the ghetto, emphasis on the ghetto. I've barely had a date in months or met someone decent, just holding L's in that department. How do I go about navigating this 2-year singleness without giving up on love?
2 years is not a long time.
I was even thinking, I was like, oh, sis.
You know what? I hear it though. 2 years can feel long if you're used to actively dating or you've been in a very long relationship or you've been in a relationship for a long time. So it can often feel like 2 years is a drought. Like I hear it. 2 years is not a long time though. In the grand scheme of things, I shall say. I think when you look back, you'll realize 2 years is not a long time. But I think one thing that came to mind whilst you're reading that dilemma is you've been doing the internal work, which is fantastic, growing and glowing and working on yourself. The reward for that isn't a partner. Do you get what I mean? I think it's easy to think, I've worked on myself, I've done all of this for the X amount of time, now it's time. Do you get what I mean? That you working on yourself doesn't really force the hand of love, like it really doesn't. It can influence the way your love story goes, and it probably will shape the way your love story goes, hopefully in a more healthy direction, but it doesn't mean that love will automatically find its way at your door. In fact, sometimes it can make it hard to actually find a romantic partner, because now your standards may be higher. It may be harder for people to be able to violate your boundaries, which oftentimes is the premise of people's entire relationship. I think it's important for you to realize that these things can take time, and enjoy the dating process. And if you feel like, well, I'm not dating, I'm not going out on dates, and that's the part that I enjoy, or that's the part that I want now, find other avenues to find other dates. Maybe the guys aren't going to come flocking to you. Maybe you need to start dating a different caliber of guy, or a different type of guy who is not accessible to you, or has not been what you typically go for. So now it's time to step out of your comfort zone in that area. So you may need to join a dating app. You may need to make some new friends. You might need to go to different environments and to different actual physical places and locations to bump into the people who you actually want to date now. In terms of your ex though, he's done the work and now he's someone else's. That's the story of life, right? A lot of us are preparing other people's husbands. It just be like it.
God. Yay.
It just be like that.
Just come to that right now.
No, but realistically though, they're also developing you to be somebody else's wife. Like that's what happens if you don't end up with someone forever and they go on to date someone else. You become a part of their story. You become a part of their journey of growth, and you can't become, this is a conversation we've had with our friendship group one drunken night before, and we were talking about how could one of your friends, this was a different scenario, maybe it's a dilemma we'll post to the sisters, but could your friend date your ex, right? And one of the conclusions that we came to, even though the girls were jumping onto me for it, was sometimes women can be too possessive of the men that they have dated when it's really time to move on. Yeah. Because your ex, whilst he is or she is a part of your story, he is not your possession. So if he's then ended up with somebody else, why are you mad? But I get that you're not mad in the sense I'm gonna go and burn his new girlfriend stuff. You're mad in the sense that like, I've done all this work with you, and I'm also in a place now where I'm not happy. Like I am not happy, and now I'm seeing you happy, and I don't like that. Sometimes that's just a real human emotion, and I think it actually takes a lot of self-awareness to assess why you are feeling that way. Like when you see your ex with a new person, why is that evoking these emotions from you, right? Why are you evoking these emotions, or why is it bringing out those emotions of maybe jealousy, maybe a bit of comparison, maybe regret, maybe whatever it may be, whatever you are actually feeling. I think it takes some time to sit down and realize that it's not just because he's my ex, I want him back, but it may actually be because I haven't got anyone and he has someone, and I feel like I deserve someone. Why haven't I got somebody? And maybe it's those internal frustrations that are making you upset. So I think it's important to kind of sit down and think to yourself, why do I in this season of my life feel uncomfortable being single, right? And I think that's important. I've been single for 6 years. The other day I had to sit down and think, do I like this anymore? In the beginning, it was fun.
Is this going to be part of my story for much longer?
Do you get what I mean? Honestly, right? I've been single since I was 18, turning 19. I'm 24, turning 25. And obviously people around me are dating, they're in relationships, they're flourishing, they're thriving. And it's a part of the 20-something story, Sex in the City, relationships, young girls in London, dating. And I'm not. And I had to sit down and think for a second, am I being intentional enough about my singleness? Or am I just allowing this to be my circumstance and my predicament, but I'm not controlling it. And I think it's important for you to really think about, if you were single, what are you doing to make this singleness purposeful? Because when something is purposeful, it becomes enjoyable, even if it's hard. I think that's an important thing to remember, even about singleness, right? It's the same with like maybe going to uni. You don't particularly like it. It has some fun aspects, some horrible aspects. But when you think about the intention as to why it is you're going and why it is you're studying, it makes the discomfort and the enjoyable parts worth it, right? So I think it's the same with singleness. How intentional are you about this season of your life? And it may not have been your intention to be single, but it is your circumstance. So it's important to then take control of it and think to yourself, okay, how am I making this worthwhile? That takes work. That takes, well, not work like in the hard sense, but that takes effort. That takes planning. That takes intentional kind of reflection and thinking about, okay, what can I do to not just improve myself, but actually to enjoy being alone? Also, there are other relationships in your life where you may find fulfillment, like friendships, family relationships, career relationships, things like that. So I think it's important for you to start looking outside of this one field of one area of your life, which is romance, and just make lemons out of lemonade, right? That's not the saying. Just make lemonade out of lemons. If you can make lemons out of lemonade, you skillful.
You really skilled, right?
You're really skillful.
Turning the hands of time. Okay, whatever.
But yeah, just make some lemonade out of the lemons that you have. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I love that.
How about you?
Oh, Courtney. That was real. That was real boss. That was a robust and comprehensive answer. I love that. I love the fact that you touched on the fact that many of us are implicitly going through this like glowing and growing process, thinking that a partner is the reward, right? That once I've elevated, then I deserve all the good things coming to me, and that good thing is a man that is matching up to my standards, and, you know, stuff like that. And I love the fact that you touched on intentionality in being single and not actually dating. Like, what are you actually doing with your time, and what are you actually doing whilst you are single that is fun and, you know, cultivates other relationships that you have around you and all of that kind of good stuff. And then let's actually deal with the fact that sis, you 22. And as, you know, two 20-somethings that are on the cusp of our quarter life crisis,
God forbid.
Honestly, as two thriving 20-something-year-olds.
We are not in crisis.
We are not in crisis. But as two 20-something-year-olds, we can tell you, sis, it's okay. Take your time.
100%.
2 years to be single is not. Think about it. Before you met this guy, you were probably single for God knows how many years.
Your whole life, Sha.
Your whole life before this man came along.
Yeah.
And it's really, you know, when you're in a relationship, sometimes it can feel like that person is your whole world.
100%.
Or that person is like the only person that you see yourself with.
Yeah.
And then when, you know, the image of you two breaks and you actually having to deal with seeing that person with somebody else, but not only seeing that person, but an improved version of that person that you wanted, that burns.
Yeah.
And I hear it.
Yeah.
You are like, it's perfectly normal and natural to feel just a little bit jealous, a
100%.
little petty too. Like, okay, you decided to level up after we broke up. You didn't want to turn into something, you know, reputable, an upstanding member and civilian of the community before we broke up. I get it.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's just life. Sometimes the version that we want of, you know, a person does not come, you know, timely enough in a way that will, you know, save your relationship. And sometimes we don't always bring out the best in other people. Yeah. And that's okay to understand. So true. Like, whilst, you know, you mentioned that you guys have a really solid friendship. Maybe that's where it ends. And that's that. That's okay. So coming to terms with the fact that perhaps he wasn't the best for you and you weren't the best for him. Yeah. And wishing him all the best in his little relationship or whatever. But yeah, sis, you're 22. You have a whole lot of life, and there's a whole lot of men out there. I would definitely encourage you to like transgress various lines if you have, and this is not to say, you know, lower your standards into the depths and pit of hell itself, but cast your net wide. Go and seek out experiences, go and do like really cool things. And this is where, you know, in being intentional in, you know, being in this singleness period or season, as we love to say as women, I'm in my season of singleness. You know, I'm being single with purpose. It's something that we rarely hear men talk about, single with purpose.
But I think men implicitly do it.
They do.
Yeah, they just
for
do
sure.
it.
I'm focusing on getting the bag.
Yeah,
man.
do you get what I mean?
Focus on the bag. The chicks will come later. They'll be attracted to the bag.
100%. They'll sleep with women along the way because that's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But
anyways, that's a different podcast topic. But the bottom line is you have a lot of life left in you, a lot of life. And there's a lot of people out there. And even in, joining dating apps, we do say with caution, results may vary and we can't be held responsible for the riffraff that you may in terms like TLC boy. We cannot be held responsible for any riffraff you come across, but in sifting through, going through those experiences, open yourself up, do some crazy things this year. Like we've literally just started 2022. There's a perfect opportunity to do things that make you uncomfortable, and who knows, along the way you might find somebody special. But you know what, if you don't find someone special, that's okay.
Maybe you're the someone special. Maybe you're the person you have to discover.
Wow. Maybe somebody's on their way to discover you.
There you go.
A discovery.
I thought you were a discovery.
How romantic is that? You're a discovery. Discovered you. But sis, sending lots of love your way.
Yeah.
This journey is literally just starting. And take your time with it too.
Please.
And really, really focus on what is it that you want for the rest of your life beyond, being in a relationship. What does V2 of you look like in 2022? Man. Great stuff. But moving swiftly on from our dilemma into our discussion. Happy New Year, sisters. We are in 2022. It seems like a fake year every time I hear it. I'm screaming,
why?
Like, doesn't it just seem weird? It was 2010, like 2 years ago.
You had just left primary school.
Literally just 2 years ago. It feels like it was yesterday.
Olympics.
It felt like it was
what
yesterday.
A year to call upon. 2010.
This is the receipts that you're pulling
2010.
Oh, 2010 feels like it was 2 years ago.
Do you remember what you were doing when you were 13?
I remember wearing my primary school dress.
You were 13.
Yeah, man. It feels like 2022 is just an alien year.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so late, futuristic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it feels very 2022, we're in the future.
I remember when I was writing, in primary school, secondary school, 2000 and whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's 2022.
Yeah.
Crazy scenes.
I hear it.
Anywho, it is a new year. Happy New Year. All of that jazz.
Happy New Year.
And everyone knows that when a new year rolls around, naturally, everybody starts thinking about New Year's resolutions, thinking about how they're going to be their best self in 100%. The next year and all of that jazz. And I'm so happy that we've picked this as a topic to kick off the new year because I think it's going to help a lot of sisters that are out here struggling.
I agree.
And out here trying to really figure out how to incorporate something like discipline into their daily routines and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go in with a slightly different entry point, which is what have you been proud of as it pertains to your discipline last year?
Ooh.
And what are the areas that you would like to improve as it pertains to your discipline this year?
I think, one thing that I'm proud of from last year is I finally was able in my mind to confront the idea of, I don't want to do this. Okay, but you have to.
Yeah, I love that.
And that quick conversation that happens in your mind between those two thoughts, I think helps you really push past laziness or just kind of your emotions or whatever to actually live up to duty, responsibility, things that you have to do to actually reach your end goal, to reach whatever it is you said that you wanted to do in whatever area of your life, whether it's fitness, whether it's career, business, whatever. And I think last year was the first time. I think before last year, I was very much so, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm just don't want to do it. Maybe my emotions are kind of out of whack as well. Like I'm just having a bit of a bad day. Let me just kind of throw my to-do list in the bin. And last year was the first time that I really kind of put on my big girl pants and was like, sis, okay, you don't want to do it. Feelings are valid. Emotion, you have had a crappy day.
Yeah.
but you have to do it. So no one else is going to get it done. So I'm very proud of myself to be able to kind of have that internal conversation of, okay, I've acknowledged my feelings, but I also acknowledge responsibility and the real world kind of thing. This year, I'm really, and it's actually one of my like words for the year as my vision is concerned, consistency.
I love it.
I'm a very like high highs, low lows, very few middle.
It's either one or the other.
The middle
it's
is
either red or blue.
It's the on the way to the high or the low. It's not the place. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this year, what I'm really trying to do is stop thinking of myself as someone who constantly has to live in a state of chaos, and actually realize that whilst I do thrive sometimes in chaotic environments, and like I'm a very adapt, bounce back, resilience kind of person, that may not actually be the optimal environment for me to thrive. Whilst I can thrive there, it's hard to sustain that. It's hard to sustain. Like I said, it's very high highs, it's very low lows, which means the highs are not consistent. And at least middle is higher than low. Do you get what I mean? So I'm trying to get to a place this year where even if it's doing the small things and kind of scaling back a little bit, can I keep consistent? Can I keep a kind of streamlined level of performance, a streamlined level of consistent results kind of thing, and consistent effort? That's what I'm trying to do for the next 364 days. Like, get me consistent effort, consistent schedule, consistently showing up. That's what I need to get to. Because whilst I can have the whole like, I don't want to do this, but you have to do it, if you can't have that conversation with yourself every single day about the small things, it doesn't really amass, it doesn't really compound. And so I'm trying to get to that place this year. How about yourself? That's a very good question, by the way.
Thank you. You know, I'm trying conversation facilitate on what they know. That's what they call me on these streets.
They call me.
No, I love that. In terms for me, last year, I think I was exceptional at standardization. So I knew exactly what I needed to do, when I needed to do it, how to do it, and to just execute. That was really, and that was my word of the year last year, execution.
Yeah.
Come rain, come shine, it had to happen. Whether it was wake up at this time to get this done, or write this, or my output to be XYZ, I think I was really, really good at just standardizing, and then also automation. So really changing and transforming what is discipline at first into habit was something that I think I was really strong at. This year, I'm working on optimizing. That's one of my words of the year, guys. If you haven't already, well, of course you haven't already, but you will do. We are dropping something very special. If you were at the Visions conference, you would know what we're talking about. But we're dropping something.
Vision conference.
Oh, child, wasn't there something and a half? But we're dropping something very special for you folks that did miss out on a ticket. So keep your eyes very, very peeled, open for. But my word of the year is optimization. And beyond the whole standardizing, getting the routine, getting and showing up, for me, now it's like, how do I take it from, B to A, or like how do I take it from A to like A plus? What does excellence really, really look like? So even in terms of like fitness, how can I push myself further beyond the, I want to look like this? Well, what functional movements can I do now that would make me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm actually a superhuman? Performance, right? How do I optimize my performance in a way that is efficient but also not taxing? Because sometimes we can look at optimization and think, oh man, I gotta die on the line now. I need to go there. All of those like motivational speeches on YouTube. It's like, you gotta dig deep, man. And I get it, but how can I do that in an efficient way that doesn't mean that I have to like kill myself consistently just to get the results that I want? So for me, I'm optimizing this year.
Taking that.
We taking it there.
I like that.
So bringing it and posing it more widely. What do you think are some of the main issues that the sisters face when it comes to facing discipline and actually implementing some kind of discipline into their lifestyle?
One, I think we think our desire and our thirst for success and how great it will make us feel is enough to get us to where we want to be, right? Like, I like the idea of making six figures. I like the idea of being this weight. I like the idea of living in this house. I like the idea of traveling the world. I do not like the reality of the discipline. Do you get what I mean? And so because I desire it, and I truly believe, like, a lot of us, who doesn't want nice things and who doesn't want the things that they've put on their vision board? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think where we get tripped up, and especially I think why we see new year me, or the new year goals that we set fizzle out at the beginning of the year is at the beginning of the year, the desire is so strong, right? You've come off this high, the year has ended. Like, look at the way we even enter into the new year. It's usually fireworks, like adrenaline, the happy hormones are just like, and that even the idea of starting again is nice, right? The fresh start is nice. It's the reason why when you clean your room, it's so much easier to be productive, because it's that fresh slate. Do you get what I mean? But when it gets to March, all of that has fizzled out now, right? Life has actually gotten in the way. And I think also what doesn't help, this is just my theory, Christmas and the period between Christmas and like the 5th of January, usually you're at home, you're not working. The reality of life hasn't even set in yet, that life is actually busy, right? So you can actually, in that time of rest, you can dream a lot and you can have hopes. But when you start working again, or when you get back to your normal routine, you're then reintroduced to all the things that will interrupt your discipline in real life. Do you get what I mean? So in theory, your morning routine works. In theory, your evening routine works. But what happens when the kids go back to school? Do you get what I mean? Or what happens when your boss then puts another project on your lap? What happens when you get less sales than you actually anticipated? Now the reality is kicking in, and what you realize is desire isn't enough. This is where you cultivate discipline. This is where you cultivate determination. This is where you cultivate the things that you were saying about last year, right? Standardization, optimization, all of these things. Like, this is where you conquer those things when the challenges are presented to you. I think that's one of the first things that trip us up. Once you go back to work on Monday or after the bank holiday, what's going to happen is you're going to be reintroduced and reacquainted to your hectic life. Don't throw your goals out of the window once you see that reality, because it can be very scary to think, how am I going to make it to the gym every morning when they've cancelled my train? How am I going to make it to the gym every morning when it's going to rain? Do you get what I mean? Like,
hailstones?
The reality sets in, and what you realize is the dream is nice, and I want the dream. The discipline that comes and is sold before the dream, don't want none of that, because that's the hard bit. And I think that's the sucker punch, and I don't think it gets easier every year. I think it is a blow to the gut every year. I also think that a lot of us actually can't be bothered, and I'm not saying this in a we're coming at you way. Like, I'm actually having compassion and also looking at it from my own perspective, that sometimes you're just lazy. And sometimes you actually want to be lazy. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you just want to, I can't come and kill myself. Like, honestly. And I think that whilst it can sometimes be good for self-care to not push yourself too hard, I think one thing that we all have to accept right now is that your 2022 goals are going to require for you to push yourself hard. Do you get what I mean? And so sometimes that means, and as like cliche as it sounds, sometimes that means you actually have to kill the excuses. And I've seen that in my own life. Like, for example, this something that happened literally like a few weeks ago, my PCOS started flaring up again. So I was feeling extremely fatigued, and in my head I was thinking, well, that's a damn bummer, because I've got all these goals and all these visions, and I'm tired. I'm feeling a bit down, like my body is not performing at its optimal level. And I think what also doesn't help is because of the move and because of like the CDB London sale and then getting COVID, I haven't been to the gym in about 6 weeks. I've got mad anxiety about going to the gym on Monday. But what I'm deep in is that these are the things you're going to have to live with, and these are the realities. You now have to learn how to optimize this, live with this, work around it, make it work with you. But come hell or high water, this thing has to get done. And the form might change, right? Because of my PCOS, I might not be able to make it to the gym once a week. I might not be able to make it to the gym 1 week out of the month, but at least I need to go out and get a walk or get fresh air. Like, I can't allow one reason or one excuse or one very valid reason to put a complete ceasefire on my vision and my goals for the year. And I think it's easy to get to that point of my life circumstances are so real. My body, what it's telling me is so real because it is real, right? Like these feelings are real, that I'm going to let that stop me from getting what it is that I want. But I think there is a need to sometimes push past these things. And please hear me, like, I'm not saying don't respond to your body, don't give it the rest and the care that it needs. What I am saying, however, is learn how to rest and take care of your body in a way that still allows you to achieve your goals and your vision and still allows you to evolve as a person and grow as a person. So I think that that's another big reason, right? Life circumstances are real, and now you have to let go of all these excuses and kind of push yourself to this new level of learning yourself, learning the world, learning new systems, actually increasing your knowledge. I've been here like reading bare articles and YouTube videos about how I manage my PCOS, and I've got to try all these different things. But the reason why I'm trying is I have a vision. I know where I'm trying to be at the end of the year. Do you get what I mean? And so yes, my body and the way it's feeling as real, and PCOS is a part of my body right now and it's a part of me right now, but it can't hold me back from my vision. Do you get what I mean? And my vision has to also include the realities of what I'm going through, which means I have to plan and strategize accordingly. That's the hard part, having to be adaptable with your plan and saying, yes, I have all these goals. The strategy might have to change, but we're going to the same place.
Oh, honey.
We ain't gonna change that.
Come rain or shine.
Come rain or shine. Even if it don't happen by December 2022, it's gonna happen by December 2025. But we're going to the same place.
I know that's right.
We're
gonna try again.
We're going to try again. And sometimes it's letting go of those timelines, right? I think or sometimes it's actually putting a timeline on yourself. I think a lot of us lack vision. But I think I'm still in the mindset of vision conference. I think a lot of us lack discipline because we haven't put a time frame on our vision because we think we have enough time. What you would just say, I'll get there. December 2022 is far away. And I'm not saying that because most of us know the year's going to fly by. Last year flew by. But when the days feel long, today has been just one day and I'm already exhausted and shattered. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The days feel long. The weeks feel long. The months go quick. The years fly by, right? If you don't take care of the day, you're losing the week.
100.
And if you don't take care of the week, you've lost the month. If you don't take care of the month, the year's already on a downward slip. You have to cherish every single moment and chance that you have to get closer to the goal.
Yep.
So don't get arrogant and don't get complacent and don't become like, in the story of the tortoise and the hare, where the hare takes a nap and it's like, I've got time. Life will pass you by that way.
That is a fantastic
Life
analogy.
will pass you by that way. Yeah, that's what I'd say. I've given the most long-winded answer.
No, I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. What an excellent analogy. Like, I'm literally blown away by that. Don't be like the hare. No, you don't understand. Don't be like the hare.
Don't be like the hare.
You'll be out here sleeping and you had that momentum. You could have aced your goals.
Aced it. If you had just not gotten arrogant.
Jeez. I love that. I love all of it. More. But no, I definitely love that. I think for me, one thing to add is I think many of us see discipline as punishment. So I was even looking at, the dictionary definition for discipline. Yeah. And one of them is, of course, punishment. Yeah. But then the other dictionary definition of discipline is to train oneself in accordance to, ethos or principles of behavior. So I think many of us need to do the perspective or like mindset shift, or not seeing discipline as something that is abusive, or seeing discipline as something that is, punishment, but seeing it as training. Yeah. Right. And this is why vision is so important, right? Because vision informs the principles by which you adhere to. It informs the discipline, right? As you were saying, like, discipline is about how you're going to get to your vision. Yeah. How exactly are you going to, like, there's no point in having discipline if you don't have a vision. Yeah. And there's no point in having a vision if you don't have discipline. They go hand in hand. So true. Thinking that you can have this vision and somehow appear or arrive, it's like... It's like having, a destination in mind, but you don't have any kind of means of getting there. No car, you don't even have a bike. You can't walk, couldn't get anywhere. And then discipline is like having the car, having, you can move, but you have no sense of direction. You have no sense of, navigation or guiding principle. So the two go hand in hand. And for me, the reason why I actually love discipline so much is I see it as an opportunity to train myself to adhere to a set of principles that I set myself. It's every time I show up, every time I wake up to do XYZ, something that I said to, I wanted to do, it's me proving to myself that I can adhere to the goals that I set myself internally. Yes. That I can adhere to my moral principles, that I can, adhere to the way that I look at myself physically. It's me confirming to me that I trust me. And I think sometimes discipline is hard for us because we don't trust ourselves. Yes. Yet we have to actually enact discipline in order to build that trust with ourselves. Trust that, like, you can't just wake up one day, I trust myself. It doesn't happen like that. Yeah. As we've, been speaking about over the course of the past 2 episodes now, track record. You need to build up your track record with yourself. And the same is with discipline. Big time. You're going to be more inclined to follow discipline and be disciplined when you can start to get the receipts of that discipline. Like, I now look forward to go to the gym. I now look forward to journal. I now look forward to catching up with friends because I've done it before. And I know that I can adhere to it. And I know that it's in line with the person that I want to be. Not just, in future or whatnot. And I think that's also another issue. You mentioned so beautifully that many of us don't put a time frame on, the vision that we want to achieve. Because of that, we seem to think that the person that we want to be is so far removed from who we are right now that it's like you become discouraged, right? When we set all of those goals, like, and it's related to my next point, but I'll get there. When we set all of these lofty goals, we're just like, I'm ready to turn my life around in 30 days. Come on. I'm ready to make that change. And many of us see the 30 days as the full transformation rather than just the accelerator into the larger. Real training. Right. And many people take advantage of that. How many, challenges do we see that are not necessarily, for want of a better term, about people's well-being and more so about people's cash? How many times do we see sisters being bamboozled by their engagement with so many different, fads? This is the perfect time for capitalism and marketing, mind you, because it's the time where everybody is now dedicated to changing themselves for the next 10 days. 100%. And mind you,
not for 10 days.
Mind you, we're coming out with something special. Oh, I think we can even mention it now.
We did 100%.
Earlier. We'll take this as a brief, pause.
Well, this is an ad break from your sponsors to My Sisters, the podcast.
This is an ad break to let you guys know that we actually have something special as a result of Visions Conference and as a result of the fact that we actually want to invest in you guys. Yeah. We are announcing the monthly Visions giveaway, which means for every single month, we'll be announcing something new to challenge you into becoming a better version of yourself. The Vision Fund. And just to give you guys a little bit of a kick up the... I'm trying to find a politically correct...
kick up the ass.
Yeah.
Kick up the backside.
Kick up the backside. We're not going to be asking for money from you. We're going to be giving you money. All right, well, we be real radical. We are going to be giving you, because people out here be asking for subscriptions and some fees and stuff. But we want to show you guys. You're doing the work. We're giving you the money. Absolutely, we want to show you guys that we mean what we say, and we actually, put our money where our mouth is, as long as you put your feet where it needs to be. Come on, and we'll be giving away the equivalent of
not a slogan. We'll put our money where our mouth is, as long as your feet are where they need to be.
You know what I'm saying? So we will be revealing the details of that once this episode is out, which will be Sunday.
Yes, Sunday the 2nd of January, today, or whenever you watch this. It might be in the past for some of you, but join the February challenge.
Absolutely.
We'll be announcing the first challenge of the year, which I don't think we've decided what it is.
Not yet.
We will soon. So
keep your eyes peeled
on Instagram and join the mailing list. Big important things to do, because if you don't join on day one, you can't join.
Till
the next month.
That's
okay.
It.
Should we say what the prize is?
Yeah.
Okay. So to everyone who completes the challenge, you'll be entered into basically like a random draw. Obviously, you got to send us receipts. Basically, just see the posts. You've got to at us. You've got to let us know. Keep accountable to us that you're actually completing the challenge, whatever it may be. So it might be steps, it might be book related, whatever it is. It's basically in line with the different visions that you may have for your life, the ones we have for our life, and the ones we heard from the sisters at the Vision Conference, who we are using as a mouthpiece pretty much for all of you. So we are going to give one lucky sister £100, 100 British pounds sterling, or the equivalent in your currency, just for doing it, just to cheer you on, to say well done. Now, please, sis, just because you might not be the one that wins the £100 doesn't mean you shouldn't enter into the challenge, because it's better in your life. It's simply just to celebrate and to also just give you a chance to win some money, because you guys have been amazing. The Vision Fund is funded by, or the money in the Vision Fund is powered by the sisterhood. All the ladies in the sisterhood who bought a ticket to the Vision Conference, we are taking 36% of the ticket proceeds from the entire conference to create the monthly Vision Fund. So it's basically the sisters helping the sisters and just giving prizes to a sister that they feel like should be celebrated. So why wouldn't you join?
Every month.
Every
month, not just 1 month. That means this year.
Nope. And we're not just gonna send you like $100. No, you're gonna get £100 in your currency.
That's right.
£100 in South African rand.
That's right, baby.
£100 in Ghana cedis.
That's right,
Naira,
baby.
whatever it may be.
Get yourself something nice.
Get yourself something nice. As long as you have access to PayPal, you can have it. Absolutely. But basically, just enter into the competition. Enter into the challenges. It's not really a competition. It's just something to hold each of us accountable. So sisters, we hope that you enjoyed that.
We hope you did. Sign up to the mailing list for more details. And
we're going to be doing it with you. We're going to be doing it. So
every single challenge we have to complete. Yay. Now thinking about the challenges, hey, can we make them easier? But back to the episode, discipline. Yes. But yeah, just to round off on the last point around why I think discipline is also quite difficult, because we are such a generation of quick wins, self-gratification. Yeah. We want it now. Yeah. We're willing to do anything that it takes to get to the end goal. And because of that, many of us invoke abuse and punishment and not sustainable discipline.
Come on.
Because we've now, I just need more discipline to get, lose 20 pounds in like 10 days. No, you don't. You need a psychiatrist. That's what you need.
You need clinical help.
You need clinical help, because it's actually impossible in most cases for you to lose 20 pounds in 10 days in a sustainable fashion.
Yeah, in a sustainable fashion.
In the same way that, I don't know, I am going to become a healthy and whole person in 2 days of intensive journaling. And then you see your and then you see your ex, and all of a sudden you've thrown a drink at this man. Ruffling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So thinking about discipline not as something that you need to enforce, not as something that is punishment, but see it as actually you proving to yourself that you can adhere to your standards. Yeah. We have so many standards for other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we hold ourselves accountable to these mythical standards that we actually never meet. Yeah. Because our standards for ourselves are even too high for us to reach, and they're just not sustainable.
Or we find a way to then have compassion and grace. Compassion and grace that we lack for other people, we can often give ourselves. Like, you find it easy to forgive yourself. You find it easy to be like, it's all right, sis, you've had a bad day. Yeah. It's all right, it's been a long day, your period, But you can't think about that when your friend popped off at you. You're not thinking she's had a bad day, her period, she's tired. You're just thinking she's a narcissist. Yeah, do you get what I mean? You have to have compassion, right? You have to realize that standards need compassion.
It's so funny. We can often diagnose the issues. You just need more discipline.
Easy.
She says, eating her 5th chocolate bar. You just need to be more structured, more boundaries. But your ex,
everyone
has called you for the 5th time. I hope
you have noticed over the last 3 episodes, she's the one who's coming for you more. It's not me. It's not me. I've changed.
Not turning a new leaf.
I'm the less strict parent here. All right? 100%. No, but 100% you're right. You're 100% right. And I wanted to say something on the back of what you said about discipline and like the punishment and the last minute changes that we make for like stupid time frames. You will often notice, and I think this is something we've even noticed in our own lives, that anything that was built quickly breaks fast.
Ooh. You better speak on it.
Do you know what I mean? Like the discipline that you're trying to enforce for 10 days is not going to give you a lifetime's worth of transformation and change.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? It's not sustainable. It's not long lasting. It has no longevity. So I think you should also kind of take peace in knowing that something that takes longer to build lasts longer.
100.
Something that takes longer to master is something that will probably be with you forever. You will never lose it. And so I think it's important for us to give ourselves that time to say, this isn't going to happen overnight, and I'm thankful that it won't happen overnight.
That was it. You're coming up with the analogies today. That was literally what your
Maybe
third
because
analogy?
it's near my bedtime. I'm in a new level of thought.
Some of y'all are conscious. She's in her subconscious.
No, I feel like my wing is even sliding back. She says she's in a new level of thought.
You outside the matrix, baby. We still taking the blue pills out here. You took the red one. It's crimson.
Oh, what a mess.
What a mess. But moving on from speaking about discipline and talking more about habit formation, because I do think they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Habit formation is often an expression of the discipline that we want to see in our lives.
Yeah.
What are the practical ways that you think people can think about habit formation, and what kind of habits do you think are healthy for people to want to implement in their lives this year?
That is such a good question. I think the first thing is start small. Like really like start small, start practical, start in something that also reinforces, like you were just touching on, which is something I think is very important for us to develop as people, which is trust in yourself, right? Like I think it's important to work on the small things and to do the things which allow you to trust that when you say something, you'll do it. So even if it's just, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m., wake up at 7 a.m., just do that, right? I think often we can overstretch ourselves in our goals and think that because I want to be this person at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, I'm going to be that person. And sometimes it's like narcissists take time. I think it's important for us to just start small, start with the building blocks of things. In terms of habit formation though, I'm very interested more so to hear what you have to say, but I think one thing that's important is for you to cause as little friction and resistance in your life as possible.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? So actually identify the obstacles that may be in your way, eliminate them. just eliminate them. So like, for example, I want to start eating better. Very simple example. I want to start eating better. Go through your cupboards and think about what is in your most, like what is most in your view. What is is easier for you to reach. Most times the things that we have been eating more of is the things that we find easier to, like we find it easier. We've put it in the section of the fridge or in the section of the cupboard where I literally just open and it's there, so I get it. Put them in a different place, put them in a harder to reach place. Like literally make the path to discipline easier for you. Pick out your clothes for the gym in the morning. Like all these things that we hear and we think, oh yeah, those are simple tips. Sometimes because we are not implementing the simple things, we are struggling. I think it's important for us to really, the simple things that you hear, people have discovered them for a reason. They are tried and they are tested. And I think sometimes I was reading my devotional this morning and it was talking about how oftentimes people can be foolish because they think they don't need self-discipline, right? They think they don't need wisdom. And I think a lot of us have heard tips and we haven't implemented them because we think that's simple. If it's so simple, why aren't you doing it then? Do you get what I mean? And oftentimes you find because these simple things are not in place, you're slipping up. So really ease your way through it. Honestly, make it easy. If you're trying to stop using your phone, like in the morning, put your phone far away from you. You don't need all these fancy things. Sometimes you just need to sit down and do the simple thing of just, I'm gonna turn my phone off, and buy an actual physical alarm. That's it, I think in terms of trying to form habits, that's the main thing I'm learning. All the obstacles that you can move out of your way, move them out of your way.
as much as possible, because oh boy, some of us be creating new obstacles.
And the thing is, obstacles are inevitable, right? Things are going to happen. The one thing that you have control of is the obstacles that you cause, right? So if you move those out of the way, you make your path easier,
100%.
right? So no one's saying that you doing all of this is going to make it easy. They're just saying it will make it easier because at least you can be confident in knowing you're not the one in your way.
Not you stepping out of your way in 2022.
Step out of your way.
Step aside, sis. I love that. And I guess the things that I would add to that, firstly, is anticipate that your willpower will fail you. Many of us are too arrogant. Me being one of them. You'll think that I've got this.
Yeah.
Anything I think I can do, I'll do consistently.
I'll
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. That's right. 30 days of consistency. I can do that.
Yeah.
Anticipate that your willpower will fail you.
Yeah.
I know that I am human. I know that I have flaws. I know there will be days where I wake up and you know what? I don't want to be healthy.
Yeah.
In any shape or form. I want to be petty. You know? I wanna, be irrational.
Yeah.
You need to anticipate that you are human.
Yes.
Many of us have to, and this is not to say that you should, bring your confidence down a peg. It's more about understanding that there will be days, much like, it's inevitable in life, where you will just not want to do what you want to do. Some of us are lazy on those days, and that's okay. So with the knowledge that your willpower will fail you, that's how you now think of strategies and systems that will stand the test of time and stand the test of your failing willpower.
Yeah.
And that's where I love the fact that you touched on simplicity.
Yeah.
Because we make things too complicated in this life. We buy, as you were saying, we buy like 10 million journals. If I have 10 million journals, I'm not going to write in any of them. There's too many.
And I can't track what I've been writing. There's an account from 2016 in one book and an account from 2017 in another book in my mum's closet. And there's one under my bed.
That was me.
How do you get an actual idea of what your life
and
has
you're
been
thinking,
saying?
I'm going to fill all of these up and give to my kids and show that you are a haphazard human being. Haphazard.
It's not that you're a
Chaos.
haphazard human being.
Bruh, there's one entry from 1996.
Yeah.
The next entry is in 2006.
But that's a lot of us getting the mindset. And I think it's linked to, like you said, the capitalism aspect of personal development, right? A lot of us think we need more things. In order to get more discipline, you need more things. You need more apps. You need more gadgets. You need more. Like we're living in a world which tells you buy all these different machines so that your life can become easier, right? Or buy all these different books so that you can learn different segments of life, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I am saying though is when it comes to your own personal discipline, what you need to realize is oftentimes the most simple things come from you. They just come from your mindset. They just come from a simple decision, which oftentimes we're just not making.
100%.
And all of us know, like we use these things to like kind of console ourselves, right? And we use them as the evidence that we're serious people. So I bought 1 million journals. You can see I'm serious
and
about my exactly. You can see I'm serious about my emotional, spiritual, and mental health. I've got 1 million productivity apps on my phone. You can tell I'm serious about my time. But what are you doing with them? Like the seriousness isn't in the fact that you have it. The seriousness is in the fact that you use it. And most of us don't use what we have. I'm here to tell you. And also I think it's because if you don't have these things, sometimes you can use that as an excuse as to why you can't do it, right? Like for a lot of us who may have grown up from like a low socioeconomic background, do you know how to make the little work? But we're living in a time now where maybe you've got a little bit more, financial resources, you've got a new job, you've kind of climbed up the social ladder a little bit. And now you feel like you actually need more than you actually need to make things happen. Your resourcefulness has declined. I think it's important to still be resourceful people. I think it's important to still be resourceful
Not Courtney
people.
coming to say that I'm the one coming for you guys today, but
I'm just being honest about what I've seen. I think it's important to still be resourceful people, even if you have an abundance of resources, because you don't need to be wasteful. And I think a lot of us are wasteful with mind space, technological space. Like the amount of space on your bookshelf has been taken up by a lot of stuff. Like you have minimal capacity. and you also have minimal productivity and you have minimal results and you have minimal manifestation, and those things don't make sense. If you have a lot of resources, you should also have a lot of output. A lot of us have a lot of resources and very minimal output because we're using the amount of resources we have as the proof that we are what we're trying to be. That's not the case. Just because you have a million finance books on your shelf doesn't make you a millionaire. That person who's been diligent with the one that they do have and the principle they learnt from that one book and actually implemented it in their life and kept going back to it and mastered it probably has more results than you do. And I'm saying this to say it's about mastering the little you have. It's not about being mediocre at a lot of things.
100%. And going back to the foundational principles, do a little. Well, rather, do more with the little that you have and focus on the foundational principles. My favorite example is, you know, when folks are like, oh, you know, I want to get in shape and all that kind of stuff, they'll start making green smoothies. They'll be out here wearing waist trainers. They'll be out they'll be out here doing What an era. Yeah. Women have actually been captured.
We've been
bamboozled and held in bondage by things that are meant for, dare I say, optimization before we've actually standardized. There are many things that we need to standardize before we optimize, but because we're focusing on optimizing, we're not going to get the results because we haven't even mastered the foundational principles.
Very good.
It's like trying to build a house. Okay, so like in certain chapels and in like architecture, there's a stone called like the keystone, which is the foundational stone. If you shift this, the whole thing is going to fall apart. Many of us are trying to build elaborate systems without keystones. Nothing is holding. I don't know, like I like me a cheeky green juice or like here or there, but I'm not going to drink it every day, am I? I don't flip it like that. I don't like kale. You know what I mean?
And it's expensive.
There we go.
And again, the capitalism of personal development. Do not be bamboozled and grabbed. This year, I beg you in the name of God. How many
green juices? Listen, if green juice is on your vision board and you haven't thought about anything else, like just making sure your diet is on par, pack it in.
Yeah, because a lot of it, like you were saying actually about the fitness example, because I really like that one. Because when I started my weight loss journey, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be so expensive. But what I've realized actually, portion control, just cutting back on what you have could do wonders. Do you get what I mean? And then when you get better understanding and more knowledge, you kind of switch your nutritional choices and stuff like that. But buying a £6-7 or a $10 green juice because it makes you feel healthy and that's what you've been told is healthy. Do you know what your sugar levels are saying? Because green juice can still make you diabetic. It can.
And to add to that, we got to put the waist trainers in the bin. We got to put the waist. No.
The girls are trying to be snatched.
No, but even that is marketing. It's playing off of our insecurities. And like, if you actually want to get a snatched waist, because most people wear a waist trainer because they want a smaller waist. The only way you can get a smaller waist is you need to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose fat around your midsection. Waist trainers,
and you'll also lose weight all over.
Absolutely.
Or wherever you're genetically predisposed to.
Foundational principles. But because folks are not looking into foundational principles, they are falling prey to marketing. Marketing. The only thing a waist trainer will do for you is probably reduce bloating. It's also been proven to help ladies who are postpartum. And other folks that are dealing with, I can't remember what the name of the condition is called.
Diastasis recti.
That's why I love Courtney. Precisely that. But you have not had a baby. You are actually a perfectly healthy. Chances are you're perfectly.
In fact, some of you are just 23.
You know what I mean? And you're purchasing a latex wrap for your midsection. My dear, if you don't go on step challenge, when the step challenge comes up,
the girls need to be marching on the street.
Take off the waist trainer, go for a walk, drink some more water, incorporate more vegetables, increase your protein intake. That is it. Stop it. The only thing that it's going to do is give you some, markings around your tummy.
I hear it.
What?
I hear it.
This is ridiculous. And then when I even think of the folks that do go to the gym, make sure you do the foundational exercise. Don't be out here doing kickbacks and all of these pretty, all of this. How many babes will be doing cardio and then kicking everywhere?
But sometimes they just don't know. And I think that's the issue. Like the education, that's on you. No, biggest man thing, that's on
I
you.
can't be held liable for your stupidity.
How often can we like keep saying the same thing? I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know.
For sure.
For how long will you not know? Get to know then. At least know. Sometimes the best things that we can do for ourselves when we know, biggest man thing, Renee. I think sometimes the best thing that we can do for us, no, because I think it's sheer stupidity. Like when I was growing up, my dad that was the fundamental thing he used to get pissed at. I'm not upset that you don't know. I'm upset that you keep saying you don't know and you haven't done anything about it. Do you get what I mean? I think what's important, as you have written that vision, okay, sometimes the number one core thing that we need to do is identify what don't I know.
Yeah.
Just what don't I know?
Research is key.
So key.
Read.
And it's on, the reason why I say it's on you is we ain't in school no more.
We're not.
Unless you're young and you're reading this, and this is not content for less than 13 years old.
Cross-reference, because folks be out here, right? I know this is the age of like, you know, content and all of that kind of stuff. Change up and vary your source material.
That is very
it can't
good.
just be content, because there's a lot of even content creators. They need to go and read as well. There's scholarly articles you can read online. There's books. There's people who have actually studied a lot of these things. When we think of like nutrition or emotional healing and trauma, and that's why we're so passionate about sharing resources. But understand, this is not the be all and end all. Vary your this is critical. This is why I think critical thinking needs to be brought back ASAP in schools, because
100%.
varying your source material. Don't just trust, you know, somebody that has had results from doing XYZ for like 5. You've watched a reel on TikTok or on Instagram, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm gonna try that.
And also circumstances are very different, right? Like your genetics are very different. Your life, like your background is very different. Your social background is very different. Your life's history is very different. Your ancestry is very different, which often means you're not going to get the same results.
No.
And I think it's important for us to always acknowledge, where am I starting from, right? Like, and also what do I have and what don't I have? Because I think actually sometimes it's stronger to... The two strengths you have at play here, know how to use what you actually have, because there's no point in having things and not knowing how to use it.
100.
And also know what you do not have, because to know your disadvantages is to know where you can get strength. And I think that is a key principle you can hang on to for 2022. Do not go in with the arrogance of thinking, because like you just said, I listened to one person and they had results, I'm gonna do exactly what it is they did. They may not be starting from where it is you started from. Bro. So vary your information, and also just be very aware of where you are and what you do not know and what you need, and where your setbacks may be, where your drawbacks, where your weaknesses may be, because even genetically speaking, some people have bigger bums than others.
Oh.
Okay. You going into the gym and doing donkey kicks may not give you the bum that you want. Okay, I know that's what she does on her routine. I know that's what she did in the video, and she's got a big back. But you don't have your mum doesn't have a big bum. Your grandma doesn't have a big bum. None of your aunties have a big bum either. Okay, you might need to go and pick up some of those free weights, and you may have to let go of the idea that your waist is gonna be very, very wide. I mean, your hips, sorry. Because genetically, it's just not in it, okay? I just want to be honest.
Also, to be honest, the babe that you're watching on Instagram, she got a BBL, so she don't even have the bum that...
But even if she didn't... Just accept your portion.
Do you know what I mean?
And if you don't, and you get the BBL, don't worry, sisterhood, we all...
However, I do think, sometimes I think, wow, if God had given me this, I would have acted all the way up.
Let me tell you something. There's a reason why God didn't make me slim. The evils that I would have done if I was slim, because everything else is going for me, sweetie.
Bro.
I have to have a struggle. There has to be a part of the story that adds some texture.
I'm going through it growing up here, because
if God made me slim, I'm telling you now, there will be prayer vigils against me. If
I was a cutie patootie earlier,
God knew what he was doing. I'm telling you now, it's all a grand plan.
God's master plan.
God's master plan, because me, I'm a savage,
baby.
Classy,
baby. What you know about me?
Slim, thick backing. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It would have been a nuisance.
Damn.
The original menace to
What do you
society.
know about CDB?
But we thank God there was a little bit of a confidence cap.
Fam. I'm telling you, sometimes I think all of these issues we faced when we were younger is because God said, I know you.
I know you. If
I know
I gave
what you
you
could
everything
become.
you want, you would be a terrorist.
Bro. He said you gotta be a late bloomer, baby, because if you bloom early, you gonna kill other flowers.
Exactly.
Ooh. Shout out to the man them that escaped our wrath.
The Lord showed you mercy.
Carried you. What? Are you mad? Would have carried you. You see, this house that we have here would have been our bachelorette. Listen, if we weren't women of morals.
We were saying this when we moved in, yeah? Thank God for the Holy Spirit.
If we weren't upstanding civilians.
Thank God for Jesus.
If we had not worked to where we are.
Because there would be some noises you'll be hearing from that bedroom. You couldn't tell me.
Couldn't talk to me
At all.
Wow.
Oh.
Alexa, play Act Up by some girls. What?
Oh.
Wow, we be acting up. Wow. In fact, we might even be in the States right now, but it's okay. We're coming to the States as a force for good. As a force for good.
As a force.
As a force for
caveat.
positive change. We're all about. Listen, all of these. I'm sure in a parallel universe somewhere we out there acting up, but
Yeah.
we're here for the good of
100%. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. If it wasn't for the Lord, where would we have
Where
been?
would we be? Anywho, to wrap it up, I wanted to speak and touch briefly on this whole concept of the it girl.
Ooh.
So, if you were at the live show, the TMS London live show, one of the phrases that I used to describe myself was, I think I'm it. And it's definitely
Capital
something.
IT.
Oh, capital IT, baby. We don't do no small caps. It's in italics.
It's in bold.
Bold italics. No,
Underline it.
no Comic Sans though, because I'm not a joke.
Put it in Times Roman. Yeah. Why we clown this? It's because it's late.
Yeah, it's because it's late.
Yeah.
It's because it's late. But I've also seen it, on socials and a lot more people just more widely using the term of, being the it girl.
Yeah.
And that also encompassing, being more disciplined and having certain habits and certain traits. What would you say is like top advice, or like how would you describe the it girl?
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to someone that wants to, become an it girl?
Cool. So I think first of all, I do want to say, because I've seen the trend a lot and I have mixed feelings towards it, because I think sometimes it's like main character energy or romanticize your life. It can create an image that you have to conform to. And I think most times that is very dangerous. To have an image of somebody else's life, someone else's perfect day routine, someone else who is kind of, I'm fully confident, so do this, do X, Y, Z in this order to be confident, basically become me.
Yeah.
I think that's dangerous. So first of all, take the pressure of yourself to be somebody else. You don't need to be anybody else to be the it girl. The it girl isn't her. It's you at your best form. Okay. I think it's important for you to really sit down and ask yourself, me at top form, what does that look like? And top form is different. Top form depends on what you're called to. For example, in The Last Dance, my favorite docuseries on Netflix, all about the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, Michael Jordan, in his retirement, decided that he was going to go off and play baseball, right? So from basketball to baseball. And they told him, you may be one of the best basketballers in the world, but you'll be the worst baseballer. Not because you're not a good athlete, but the form for basketball is completely different for the form on baseball.
Yeah.
That whilst they're both athletes, the athletic form completely different. Why? The use determines the form. So you need to decide for yourself, what is my use? what is my use in the world? What am I actually trying to be, like, what am I actually called to? What does my life look like in 10 years? What does my life look like in 5 years? What does my life look like at the end of this year? What does my life look like at the end of the month? According to your vision determines your form, right? Being the it girl is being at your best form. So I think it's important for you to really decide for yourself right now, according to what I am called to, right? What is my best form? Some of us are called to charity work. Some of us are called to, I'm going to build you know how they say not for profit? Mine is heavy profit. Heavy on the profitable. Heavy on the profitable.
Money.
But for some people, that's their calling, right?
Yeah,
I'm called to make a 9-figure business, right? Form completely different. The amount of knowledge you need, the daily routine, the countries you may go to, things that form completely different, right? So sit down and analyze for yourself in your uniqueness. What is your top form? What is your life going to require you to become? Then once you have that idea, that's who you become. The process of becoming that, listen to every other podcast episode before this one.
Boy. Go to the beginning.
Go to episode 1, season 1 from the hello, my name's Courtney.
Hi.
Go start from there. Because I think it's important for you to realize that this journey is not going to be easy and it's not going to be quick. One thing that the It Girl content, and this is the nature of content, right? It's perfectly put together to tell a story in a specific amount of time. So it's not on the fault of the content creator to create this, that they've created this kind of illusion. It's for you to see past the illusion, to see the help and to see the gems from it. Do you get what I mean? But if you think your life is just going to be perfectly like that, reflected in that, life isn't a movie edited by anybody, right? You are the curator of your own life. You are the one who has the creative power in your life as well. And so I think it's important for you to sit down and think to yourself, okay, how is my story going to play out? How can I slowly, carefully, and sustainably evolve into becoming this girl and becoming it? Because Renee so boldly and so perfectly put that she is it. But you haven't always felt like it. And you also haven't been at this form of it always. Do you get what I mean? So these things are a journey. So I think in terms of practical steps, the first thing you need to understand, sis, for yourself, and to kind of take you away from that, from towing the edge of comparison and also feeling inferior or insignificant or just not enough and insecure, is what is your top form for your life? Decide that first and then work slowly to becoming it. Because I think a lot of us get stuck, not because we don't know how to get to somewhere, it's just that we don't know where we are going. Do you get what I mean? So we kind of look to other people for inspiration. I'll be like Renee. I'll be like Courtney. I'll be like Patricia Bright. I'll become like Malala. I'll become like whoever your favorite person is. I'll become like Beyonce. But is that your top form?
Once you get a vision, you can literally only win at your own race.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, child.
You can only win at your own race. Where are you running to? Where are you going to? You can't cross anybody's finishing line for them. Yeah. And sometimes you may even do that, you execute it and you realize it's not really for you. You don't really like it.
It's kind of dusty here.
It's kind of dusty. And also that kind of brings me to, don't fall too tough for the aesthetic aspects of being the it girl, because the it girl is 360 holistic, baby. That it girl is so self-aware. She knows her flaws. She knows, and she's working on. She is doing her best to grow in areas of strength and of weakness. She knows what she's working on. And it's not that she doesn't get deviated or she doesn't have vices, but she has a lot of virtues. And she also is confident in that, right? It's not just morning routine. I ate this for breakfast. This is my daily routine. It's not just the workout, even though that's an aspect of it. And it's not just telling yourself you're the it girl. It's actually being confident that you are that person. And that confidence comes from, did I do the groundwork, right? Most of us might become the it girl and feel like the maddest imposter because we didn't do the groundwork. Because one thing, yeah. That's what I'd say. How about
Inject it
yourself?
into my veins right this moment. Obviously, we don't condone any illegal substances being injected into it's a phrase before we get pulled up and all that jazz. No, I think you put it perfectly. Honestly, I love the fact, even as you're speaking, like really being the it girl. It's not about necessarily becoming the it girl. It's understanding that you are the it girl and that the it flows from you and it's not a place that you're going to. That's like when I say the it girl, it's not as you were saying, it's not I do all of these things and I feel like I'm it. I am it. And then I do.
You know what? It's so poetic when you say, I am it. Dramatic pause.
It's giving my wife and kids, Junior.
Open the door, close the door. I am so confused. Yes. Yeah.
It's definitely giving that kind of poetic juncture. But being it, that's what it is. Being it. Flowing from a place of it. It is a metaphysical understanding that you are worth it. You are everything that you want to be already. It's not about, having to come up with like 10 million morning routines or buying that retinol or drinking your green juice or going to the gym. You do these things because you are it and not because you want to become it. Wow, that was quite. Oh, sorry, I had to take a pause there.
Not the philosopher of the year already. Taking that title.
Wow.
Heavy is the head. Heavy is the head. Heavy is the head.
I feel like Macbeth.
Ladies, clearly. We're recording this it's currently 8:55 p.m.
Yeah, it's even time to wrap it up. Okay, sorry, we were Jane. Sorry guys, we were Jane too much. But to wrap it up, I think just understanding that the it girl is really you just really understanding that you are worth it all and that you matter and that you are capable of doing amazing things and that you have a decent sense of self. That's it. I love the fact that you touched on the fact that the it girl knows her flaws. You know your limitations. You know where, to draw boundaries and lines to protect yourself. But then you also know when you need to be empathetic and compassionate towards other people. The it girl isn't just an image. It's a sense of being. I'm gonna stop there because that was it.
Ooh, come on!
It's a sense of being.
Yeah.
Because when we think of the it girl main character energy, we often think of images, and we don't necessarily think of characteristics or traits or relationships and all that kind of stuff. What does the it girl sound like? What does the it girl, how does she engage with other people? Is she compassionate? Is she kind? Do we think of those things when we think of main character energy and all of these other boss babe and stuff like that? So she's cool. She wears a pink cat suit. The it girl wears, she's super zen in the morning. She meditates and stuff like that.
Bubble baths and all.
Bubble baths, but what does the it girl look like when she's manifesting her purpose? What does she look like in her career? What does she look like with her loved ones? So it really is a 360 holistic baby. That's all we do there.
And these are the things that give you longevity, right? This is what keeps you the it girl in your 40s, in your 50s. And very few of us vision cast with the idea of, am I building, like you said, those keystones? Am I building those pillars which actually set me up to be the it girl forever?
It girl for life.
It girl for life. Hashtag.
You say
hashtag
lifestyle.
It girl for life.
You say lifestyle.
And that comes from pillars though. And pillars stand, right? They stand and they hold everything up, but you have to build them, right? And you have to build them first. So I think cultivating that discipline, cultivating the hard things, like you said, the patience, the kindness, the self-discipline, the ability to have boundaries and maintain them, the ability to cultivate relationship, all of those things, those are the things that keep you the it girl forever. The bubble bath might not be here next year.
Oh, honey.
You might become a person who likes showers. Yeah. Or you might then end up having kids and won't be able to have a bubble bath for 6 months. Let's be real. Because all of us are at different stages of life, right? And we're stepping into stages where people are getting married, people are having kids, like all of this. And you start to realize all the things that you could do before, you can't do them no more. So if you put the value in the thing, when the thing is gone, you lose yourself. Right? But if you become detached from the manifestation and instead become attached to the principle, the principle will find a way to manifest no matter the stage of life. Not me killing you. Revive. You're an absolute clown. Oh, me and my friend Krusty. No. Oh,
I know y'all just have had enough of us
you
today.
have,
Well,
you really have.
we should do late night recordings more
We
often.
actually should. This is very fun. We're kind of hallucinating, because me and Renee have very early bedtimes. Like
yeah, we do.
Oh, girl, this is us partying it up.
Well, as it is approaching our bedtime, sisters, we hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you have to. Wow, I was about to say have to think about. But
I heard the TH coming. I said thanks.
Methinks. It was actually old Shakespearean. It was old Shakespearean English I was going for. Methinks. Methinketh. I told you I'm feeling like Macbeth today.
You
People
are
think it's a
indeed.
joke.
I hope you don't end up the way he did.
What is the line? To go is as bad as to come back. Oh, let me leave it.
I actually can't. I know what you're trying to say.
You know that where he's talking
Yeah.
about. Oh, I'm so
As to
steeped
go
in.
back would be
To go
as something
is
to
like
go
cumbersome to come.
Basically,
back.
it would be too much to come. Like to come back would be as hard as to just go for it and to just get to the end of it.
Iconic line. I loved
Iconic,
it.
yeah.
Macbeth is such a great story.
Very great story.
A sad end, but alas,
You know what I've noticed? Almost like every other podcast episode, we make a reference to our A-level English lessons.
Really,
And that's how you could tell we had an amazing teacher.
oh.
Shout out to Miss Madden, our Canadian teacher, who not only taught us amazing English literature skills, but also believed in us as people.
Oh.
She was the nicest person. And you know
Ever.
what? On a wider note, shout out to every single teacher in the sisterhood.
Honestly.
Because you really are shaping a generation.
You really are.
That lesson taught us so much.
About
that
life.
class about life.
We
And
read those texts.
She pushed us to think. Do you remember that day when she stood in front of the door? So basically, our school, we're saying in hindsight, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But at the time, it just felt like,
captivity.
firstly, we don't want to do all this work.
Captivity.
Secondly, stay away from us. So she's reading the book and she would read to us in her Canadian accent. So lovely. And then one day she just starts reading and her feet start moving towards the door. And she stands in front of the door and everyone's like, okay, why is she barricading the door? Then you hear the bell goes off. It's the end of school. Sister didn't even look up to look at the class.
Not a
She
movement.
said, you see me standing at this door?
You
You
said,
ain't
wait.
going nowhere.
Have you seen that meme? Of the
You ain't going nowhere. I am the bell. She kept us in there for another 15 minutes. I didn't say nothing. This is kidnap.
She finished that.
She did.
She said, "You guys gotta learn English literature today."
But you know what?
We
Teachers are
loved it.
important.
No, that was actually
Teachers
that
are
was one of our
important.
favorite lessons. Honestly,
Oh,
we loved
genuinely my favorite subject.
it. We loved it. Even though
that
they
and
did us dirty
sociology.
in the end, but it's okay.
Oh yeah.
That's a story for another time, sisters. But
Oh,
they did us dirty. See them examples.
But that was AQA though. Because even Miss Madden was sad. Didn't she retire after that?
Bruh.
She said, I'm giving up.
She said, "I gave my all. Y'all took my heart, my soul. I gave everything." Anyway, sisters, let's wrap up. Let us know if you enjoyed this late night episode of TMS. If you prefer us to be recorded in the evening, because it seems like we're hallucinating. You're taking no hallucinogens.
We promise
no
we are
mushrooms.
sober. We are sober
No drinks.
of mind and of heart.
Oh, of mind and of
We're
heart.
just a little bit tired.
That is all.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled for the Drop for Vision Fund. Once a month, we'll be giving away that 100 GBP. And we are very, very excited to be supporting you guys. So please take that up with full throttle confidence.
Yeah.
Whatever the challenge is for the month, remember, it's all about bettering you at the end of the day.
Yes.
And of course, IG. At to myself, it becomes so formulaic. I'm like, guys, you don't follow us. You listen, but you ain't supporting.
You need to sleep. You need to sleep. The amount of energy emanating from this direction.
It's a lot, guys. I did drama and it's coming out now. Support us on socials. It means a lot to us. We really want to grow the sisterhood community this year. That's one of our visions, being transparent with you guys. Our vision is to see this become one of the biggest sisterhood global communities.
Global impact.
Global, baby. If you actually want to see us in the States, up in South Africa, up in the Philippines, I know you listening from there too. Support. It means a lot to us. We want to see this grow. So please share with your sisters. Share. Follow us on Instagram at @ToMySisterhood. And of course, if you want to see us personally, because we also are trying to do amazing things, support our favorite content creator, speaker, and extraordinaire, Miss Connie Daniela at CD Boateng. And of course, come say hi to me at Renee Kapuki.
Our fitness queen. Our optimized queen. Come on.
We optimizing this year, baby.
Come on.
Join the gang.
Yes. And of course, you can start a conversation or join the conversation over on Twitter. Girls, let's get the conversation going. Post your favorite quote, anything that you've learned, even your own disagreements with what we had to say. Use the hashtag #ToMySisters, but also you can follow us at @ToMySisterhood. We want to talk with you, okay?
Respectfully, though, don't be dropping nothing with attitudes, because I ain't like that. I ain't like that, man. No attitude.
You've been warned.
Drop the tone. We're also on TikTok. We're on TikTok.
We are now on TikTok. I didn't know this. We are now on TikTok. Just got what was that from the studio? We are now on TikTok from our favorite social media manager.
Guess who?
You will find us. Is my wig sliding back? Sorry. This is the worst outro we've ever done.
Oh wow.
Sorry, my cameras are fresh. At least the grip is not there like it typically
at least
is.
It's fresh, because imagine if it's sliding back and where we see it, we see it prayers. Jail time.
Ladies, join the mailing list. Listen, at this time, if you don't know the protocols for the end of the episode, I don't know what's going on. So join the mailing list. ToMySisters.com is where you can sign up for exclusive Glow and Grow tips. We are going to talk to you on Sunday again. Hopefully we'll be a lot more calm. But if you like us like this, don't worry, we can stay up late for y'all.
Oh, baby.
But I'm not going to wear makeup next time. I'm going to put on
no eyelash, no nothing. Boy, we should do a late night special.
Maybe that would be cool. Some popcorn and just some girl chat.
Yeah.
Let us know if you'd like that in the comments down below. But also follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and also subscribe here on YouTube, just so that you never miss a thing from us. We will talk to you very soon. Thank you for rocking with us.
Yeah.
We hope that you are having an amazing start to your new year.
We love that.
And we will talk to you very soon. And as always, keep glowing and growing. Mwah.